make sure to follow us on Instagram at Whistlethrowers. It's a great way to interact with our show. Our DMs are always open for questions, topic discussions, and more. You will be able to find our new episodes and other announcements there.
Take a page out of Stephen A. That is blasphemy. That is straight blasphemy. Are you kidding me, dude?
Okay, thanks for tuning back to the Whistlethrowers podcast. This is Jack Mubarak, joined by
Jack Slaymaker.
David Tuczynski.
And I'm Brennan.
All right, we got a lot to talk about, but first we're going to start with the NFL Week 6. There was a lot of interesting games and some that weren't so interesting. Where do you guys want to start?
I think we should start with up in New York, the Ravens and Giants game, because that was one of the best early games, and that was a couple of good teams playing. Baltimore needed a win there, and Lamar had it. They had the game. They had the 3rd and 1, and then they had a penalty that pushed them back 5 yards and made it the 3rd and 6, and then the Giants just flooded him with pressure. He threw a dumb interception, which in reality he should have tried to get to the outside, and like at least just slid down at the line of scrimmage so that the clock could run and you could punt. That would be the smart decision. Instead, he throws a dumb pass off his back foot across the middle into triple coverage pretty much, gets intercepted, and puts the Giants in just prime position to score a touchdown. Saquon punches it in, and they have the game at that point, And
do you think that's going to be like a point where the Ravens front office looks like, oh, maybe we shouldn't pay him as much as like
I know.
the other guys?
Right, yeah. And there's no way he can be demanding $250 million if that continues. You know what I mean? Because 10 wins isn't going to cut it in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the Bengals got to the Super Bowl 10 wins, it's just not going to be a consistent method of winning.
Yeah. I'm kind of ready for this whole Giants being good joke to be over.
I don't think it's a joke anymore.
It's not a joke. I tried warning you guys last week that their defense is for real. If Saquon is healthy, Daniel Jones will do enough for them to get a lot of wins. I keep telling you, it's not a joke. They're 5-1. At that point, we're nearly a quarter of the way or a third of the way through the season. It's not a joke anymore. They are about as for real as any other team in the NFC.
So far, we'll see. They have to do it all season, so it's a long year. They can get hurt. We'll see, but as of now, I think I don't know. They had a good comeback, so they gotta keep it up.
They are going down like the Titanic, though.
We'll see. If Saquon is injured, they're done. Yeah. Because Daniel Jones cannot carry a team.
I 100% agree with that.
I think teams are going to be able to adjust on them too. And it's like, what are you going to do not only if Saquon's hurt, but what are you going to do if a team is shutting down Saquon?
Yeah.
What are you going to go to? Can you rely on Daniel Jones to throw the ball 30, 35 times a game?
I got the answer. No, you cannot.
Yeah, right.
No,
that's what I'm
cannot.
saying. That's what I'm thinking. And I think that if that happens, like let's say a defense is stuffing the Saquon runs, and the Giants are set behind the sticks, 2nd and 10s, 3rd and 10s, 3rd and longs, and Daniel Jones obviously isn't able to convert in most of the situations, and your offense is off the field quickly and your defense is on the field a lot. It doesn't matter how good your defense is. If they're on the field for an extended period of time, they're going to be worn out and tired, and they're going to allow a lot of yards and points, And it's like a tired defense has not only been on the field for a long time, but they're going to be on the field for a long time because when you're tired, you're getting walloped. You know what I mean? So a tired defense is on the field for a long time. This is not good.
This is really off topic, but at the end of the first half of that game, did you guys see the final play of that whole half?
No.
Okay, so Daniel Jones was trying to get a play off to maybe get in field goal range, and shocker, he didn't throw the ball quick enough and he got sacked. So they resulted to a Hail Mary play with like 3 seconds left on the clock. Mm-hmm. Pocket collapses again, and he's running. Like it looks like he's like running to sprint and like dive, but instead he passes the line of scrimmage and he yanks back the throw, but then he gets sacked. So literally, if he didn't get sacked, he was going to throw past the line of scrimmage. It was just like, how can you trust this guy?
Yeah, I don't think you can trust him, honestly.
No.
And if they keep winning, they're going to pay him. So I hope they pay him.
Yeah,
honestly, I hope they pay him. We'll see. I hope the New York Giants pay him.
Yeah, I wish
It'd
they kept
It'd be great news for the Eagles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking of the Eagles, they had a statement win last night.
Yeah, the Cowboys they couldn't hang. We let foot off the gas when the second half started. Like in the third quarter, that was pretty bad. We didn't score a point. Like we've only scored I think 17 third quarter points this year.
Yeah, it's been
something like that. It's been really bad. Like we're good in the second quarter and the first half. Like we need to, if we're the best team, we have to finish games, and we did that last night. Like from the Cowboys were getting momentum and found a way to stay reliable, and defense made big plays, and so did Hurts. He had a pretty good last drive of the game where they scored. Yeah, but they didn't get the 2 point. But that doesn't matter. They still ended up winning by 9 points, and the Cowboys probably wouldn't have had enough time to get down. That's 2 possessions basically. Not really, but basically a 2 possession game.
Mm-hmm. It's been consistent theme with the Eagles coming out slow in the second half, and honestly, some people might look at it and be like, "Oh, that's super scary," but I'm actually happier that these mistakes are being made now, early in the season, and we're 6-0 still, and we're trying to critique things and fix things and tinker things here and there. Other teams right now are scampering. Look at the LA Rams.
They're Super Bowl champs and they're 3-3.
Look at the Green Bay Packers. They just lost at home. No. They didn't just lose. They got embarrassed at home.
And the Buccaneers. They lost to the Steelers away, who are 1-4 with a rookie starting.
Yeah. So this NFC is wide open, and while a lot of teams are struggling to stay above water, the Eagles are miles ahead of them, and we have quote unquote issues to fix right now. When this team hits its gear in full steam, they're going to be unstoppable, because I think people have been bringing up the 2020 Steelers and last year's Cardinals. Obviously, the Cardinals went 7-0. Steelers obviously went 11-0. Both those teams lost in the first round of the playoffs. But the difference between our team and their teams is those teams were peaked very early. The Eagles have not peaked at all. I don't think the Eagles have made it halfway to their peak yet. That's how scary this thing could be. But obviously, there's the possibility of them not achieving that, not being able to get to that level. It's very possible, And just like we said with the Giants, a lot of their success hangs on Saquon being healthy. A lot of the Eagles' success relies on their O-line being healthy, Hurts being healthy, AJ Brown being healthy, and that's the thing with every football team, everyone has to stay healthy, and football is such a grueling game that injuries are just going to happen, and it's can you fill in the positions well enough, Look at the Eagles O-line. Obviously, Driscoll struggled a little bit yesterday against Micah Parsons, but at the end of the day, for that long drive in the fourth quarter, he stepped up and, he did what he needed to do, and like we've been saying, the O-line, I don't really want to say they didn't skip a beat necessarily, because they did in that third quarter. I mean, it looked pretty horrendous, especially on that one third down sack where I think they gave credit to Dante Fowler or Dexter Fowler. I forget what his name is. But I mean, there were 4 guys surrounding Hurts and no Eagles O-lineman in between them. So you could have given credit to any of them. So, but like I said, they ended up, figuring things out and finding a way to make the plays when it mattered most. So that's a positive sign for everyone. And I think everyone in the NFL should be scared right now. Especially Buffalo and KC, because the Eagles can put up with those teams.
Oh, 100%.
And KC, that might be a tough match for the Eagles because they have a really good pass blocking O-line. But the Bills, I think that they have a little bit of holes. I think our D-line could outmatch their O-line.
It's just it's all on the quarterbacks, because they both have really good quarterbacks and they can run.
And Aki is getting pressure on them. Aki is getting pressure on them. And if you give Patrick Mahomes time
you're nice. Or he's gonna just run it and make something insane out of it. He can throw with both of his hands, literally. Yeah. He's insane. Him and Allen are probably tied, but I would right now Allen is the edge since they just won. That was a really good game too.
Yeah.
The Bills, they look good.
The other thing about Allen, though, you can say he's better than Mahomes, but he has much better weapons. Mahomes is still doing what he's doing without his best weapon for the last 4 years, which is Tyreek Hill. I get it that Kelsey is up there as a weapon. He's by far the best tight end in the NFL. But look what Mahomes is able to do to keep up with whatever picked to be the best team in the AFC with lesser weapons, with lesser talent, with a lesser defense, and still only lost by 4. He is by far the best quarterback in the NFL. Allen is a close second, but if we're going to debate this thing, Mahomes is by far the best.
Yeah, and
talent-wise for sure, for sure.
And look what he's doing with Juju Smith-Schuster too. Like Juju's having a rebirth, because he had a couple slow years with the Steelers. Obviously, Big Ben was a slow arm, so now he has Mahomes, and Mahomes is just a perfect match for him. This is a good fit.
Yeah, and
Juju's having a good season.
There's some other guys too. Like Kelsey spaces the field out for everyone.
Kelsey.
He's their best. He's the best, and they have a good run game. Like they mix it up. They mix it up a lot. They can run the ball too if they really want to. They can.
Honestly,
I'm the LSU kid. He's pretty good.
Right. I'm glad to see both sides of the Tyreek Hill trade doing well. Like KC's doing well without Tyreek. And people are just filling in, and Mahomes is able to lift those guys up. And Tyreek went to Miami, and I know he missed last game, right, with an injury. But for those...
The Week 6 game?
Yeah.
No, he played. Yeah, he had 160 yards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he got hurt. Did he
He might have got hurt at the end, but I saw him. I have him on 2 fantasy teams.
Yeah, I think he's going to miss the upcoming game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That team cannot stay healthy.
I know, yeah.
They lost all 3. Who played after Skylar Thompson went out?
They still have Waddle going, but he's the only thing really going for them right now.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. No, Teddy Bridgewater. He was their backup. So
Skylar started and Teddy.
Yeah, because Teddy he was hurt. Yeah. He was hurt.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because Tua is geared to play Week 7, and I don't really know how I feel about that.
I mean, he's had 2 weeks off, but they should have rested him the week before he got hurt
2
again.
weeks for that too.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of hard. Head injuries are tough
and I know Tua is definitely pushing for him to come back earlier. Like that's just the kind of guy he is, I think.
Yeah.
But damn, we can't have people step in and be like, we can't have adults step in and be like, come on, you got to protect Tua from himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they drafted him really high. Let's remember that. He's not really good, but they drafted him really high.
He's okay.
He's not bad. And they need a quarterback. So if he proves it this year, they're gonna pay him.
If
the quarterback proves it, they're gonna pay them the money. They're gonna give him the money, and if they can keep doing it, they keep doing it. But if they don't, money's a waste, obviously.
Yeah, you made a great point too. I don't think Tua is insanely talented like the rest of the young quarterbacks in the league, but he has the perfect system. He got Tyreek Hill,
Jalen Waddle.
They've
a good run game too. Good line. They're pretty good. I'd say they're above average, but they're not gonna win anything.
They were dumb for firing Brian Flores, but they lucked out hiring.
He was a good. Mike McKinnon was a good hiring, but they shouldn't have fired Flores.
And he was San Fran's offensive coordinator, right?
Yeah,
right. Mm-hmm. So he was coming out of a good tree there. Mm-hmm. Shanahan is a good mind.
So if we're gonna talk about the Dolphins, you guys got to talk about the other team they played because you guys owe me an apology at this point. Because I got clowned on for picking the Vikings to win the NFC.
Jack, I think
they are now 5-1, a game behind the Eagles for first place. They have looked like the most dominant team of the division winners, and the teams that I was told were going to beat them, the Buccaneers, are 3-3, have looked absolutely awful. The Rams 3-3, they're tied with 3 other teams in the NFC West for first place. So let's talk about how good the Vikings have been, and you owe me an apology.
Not yet.
Nah,
at the end of the season.
Dude.
So far they look pretty good.
No, I see how it is.
No, not yet. I'm sorry,
How
but
are your Packers doing, Jack? How's Aaron Rodgers looking?
Yeah. Okay, did any of you guys watch that game, or is it just me?
You watched it.
I watched the entire thing. I saw 5 key drops. I saw no one step up besides Alan Lazard when Sauce Gardner wasn't on him. Literally, no one could do anything. One of the first plays in the game almost got picked off because it bounced off the receiver's foot. You can't. And Rodgers is playing with a torn like a broken thumb on his throwing hand. And he was missing throws. He was grabbing it. He was getting decked every other play.
Such an act.
Did you see that one hit?
Nah, I'm fine.
Oh, man.
He's
There's a lot of other players right now playing through injury. If you saw Gardner Johnson, he was basically got off the field, came back in. Quarterbacks play through it. Jalen Hurts got a pretty nasty shot. Guess what? He stayed in, didn't complain at all. And I get that Rodgers hasn't complained yet, but he's soft. The moment that any of these guys get hurt, certain quarterbacks just can't keep up with themselves. And Rodgers is one of those guys where if he gets even a little bit of an injury, he's done for. He mentally takes himself out of games.
Okay, but it's a throwing hand injury. Like, what can he do? It's his throwing thumb, and he's missing throws, and he's trying to get it off, but there's no separation because the defense played amazing. If they played the Vikings, if the Jets played the Vikings, they were going to lose that game.
Okay, I have a question for you then. So if Aaron Rodgers has this injury, why is he throwing the ball 40 times? And why is A.J. Dillon getting 10 carries and Aaron Jones is only getting 9?
Ask Matt LaFleur. I think he's overrated.
But you know that Aaron Rodgers has a hand in that. You know it.
Yeah, he does.
Like he's one who had the contract issues where he wanted more say in the team.
I mean, listen.
He had more say in the team, and Devontae Adams ended up getting
Did you see what
traded.
Quinnen Williams did all game, though? He stopped the run all game.
Then
They
you need to
couldn't
find
get
ways
anything.
to run off tackle.
Yeah, like you should run him outside. Yeah, you got to get him
The pass game
outside.
is not working. Rodgers has an
Here's
injury.
the
You
other
need to
thing.
find ways to
The
run.
offensive line that you're saying for the Packers struggled. Is that correct?
One more time.
The Packers offensive line struggled in that game. That's what you're saying, correct?
Part of it, yeah, for sure.
So here's the other team whose offensive line struggled, who had a great quarterback, Tampa Bay. Do you know what Brady did the moment his offensive line struggled? He was on them immediately to light a fire to them. Now, they didn't win the game, granted. Other than that, they also didn't look that much better after that, but at least Brady did something. What did Rodgers do? Rodgers' body language, whenever he struggles, is to walk away from the rest of the team.
Yep.
That is the reason that when the Packers eventually go down in games, they're not going to win. When they're up by 10, Rodgers looks amazing. Rodgers' body language is perfect. But when they go down and they go down fast and they go down deep, Rodgers is not ready to bring them back.
Yep.
Does Rodgers have Mike Evans?
Oh my gosh.
Does he have
Is that
a
really-
third of
Well, he
it?
had Devontae Adams for years and did nothing with
Aaron
him.
Rodgers is supposed to be a bona fide Hall of Famer who can lead any team. This is what I was told, by the way, by everyone when I picked the Vikings, is that Rodgers was going to, no matter what happened with that team, Rodgers was going to win the division. So I don't want to hear any excuses about who's around Rodgers to making them fail.
And
Like I said, the Giants are doing great, but it's week 6. The Vikings are looking like one of the best teams in the NFL, but it's week 6.
yeah, it's early, but
It's really early.
it's they got to be consistent. We'll see as time goes.
Really early is week 2, week 3. Now we're starting to get deeper in the season.
Yep.
And we just gotta, it's a long season. A long season.
It is a long-
Green Bay gets the Commanders
it's a long
next week,
season,
so
and the Eagles are
let's see if
6-0.
they can beat
Are the
up
Eagles
on
still
them.
Super Bowl?
If they lose to Carson Wentz, Wentz is out.
Yeah,
So it'll
Heineke's
be
going to play.
Heineke.
Yeah.
Okay. If they lose to Heineke, Jack, what will you say?
Yeah, for the
All right,
Packers.
then I'm apologizing to everyone here,
Yeah.
but it's not going to happen.
Okay.
Or I don't see it.
They're
wanna put
not
money
going
on
to
it?
lose.
Do you want to put money on that?
Well, you need to pay me for last year when the Packers won the division, because I know you didn't.
Yeah, well,
forget
that's
about that.
last year. It's a new year now.
no.
New year now. No more Devontae Adams for Aaron Rodgers. And you see Brady. Like, Brady in our Super Bowl when we played the Patriots, I don't think he had Edelman, his best receiver. The man threw for 505 yards.
Yeah.
He had Hogan, Amendola, not some key guys. They had a good run game, but the man threw for 505 yards was not a number one receiver. And you're seeing Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, well, he had Gronk, but granted, you're seeing Aaron Rodgers now, and he doesn't look the same. He doesn't look the same.
I
as
don't
he
want
used
to keep beating a dead horse here. Everyone knows where I stand with Aaron Rodgers. I think Tom Brady had a way easier path with his team. He had a way better team. He had a way better coach. He had a way better organization. Am I wrong? The Packers are a flawed organization. They don't have an owner. They're publicly owned.
He's part of that, though. Do you realize that? Here's the thing. The Patriots are great because every piece that you mentioned, right? Yeah, they do it better than the Packers. They do it better than everyone in the NFL that's ever played in the NFL.
Yeah.
Because Tom Brady is their quarterback. That's part of it. And the part of the reason why the Packers look so good in the regular season and then flail out in the playoffs, part of that, things you mentioned, right? Their front office is incompetent, frankly. But also because Aaron Rodgers comes up small and he's a poor leader. He doesn't have leadership.
I think that's one of the worst narratives in all of sports.
It's not. Jack, let me ask you a question. If Aaron Rodgers went to the Raiders or went to the Broncos, would either of those teams be favored for a Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm. And Jack, you talk about weapons all the time. Like, you forget, like 2016, he had like Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson and all these great.
And Devontae Adams was young. He was he was starting to develop and get good.
And like, they got destroyed by the Falcons in Atlanta. Like, I know it's a road game, but they didn't even have a chance. They didn't keep it close. And Rodgers had a bunch of turnovers. And then you go 2 years prior to that, 2014, they had to go into Seattle. Their defense won the Packers the game. The Packers defense won that NFC Championship game. And Aaron Rodgers and the Packers offense and the Packers special teams choked. He's part of that.
You're not wrong.
He is part of that. And here's my other point. Brady took what was a dead organization in Tampa Bay that hadn't won anything since 2002, that was only considered one of the lesser organizations, one of the most unorganized organizations in the entire league, and took them to a Super Bowl his first year easily without a problem, including over Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers that had been favored to win the NFC like 3 years prior.
The head coach was Bruce Arians. They had Mike Evans. They had Chris Godwin. They had literally everything besides a quarterback. And they knew that the Jameis Winston year, they're like, oh, we're going to get the best quarterback who's available next year.
Yep.
And
Well, they were smart.
Like,
They
it
were
was kind of like the perfect scenario for Tom. And he had a huge part in bringing him there. But don't deny, that team was really talented.
Yeah. No, it was.
Talented,
but think about what they were missing.
The moment you bring in a leader like Tom Brady to organize that team, they immediately become 100 times better.
Yeah.
If you put any other quarterback on the team, they're going to win more games than they did in 2019.
But they might fizzle out.
Definitely win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, right. Because, like you said, like, I don't deny that Aaron Rodgers is an amazing talent. Like,
The most
obviously,
gifted quarterback to ever.
I don't know about
field.
that, but he's an amazing quarterback, one of the best to ever play. But like, it's so hard to win in the NFL. That's the thing, and it's like Aaron Rodgers is an example that talent isn't everything. You know what I mean? And like, sure, I guess you're right that he's more talented than Tom Brady. I guess, but Tom Brady makes winning football plays.
Yeah,
and Tom Brady is leaders of winning football teams.
Haven't I said
Wait,
this?
one more thing. To build on what Aiden said, he said he took a dead franchise in Tampa Bay in 2020. Not only did he do that, he was drafted to a dead organization in New England, in the New England Patriots, who went to a Super Bowl mid-90s, but that was about all they'd won since they went to the Super Bowl.
Lucky. I don't want to say Super Bowl runs are lucky, but when you look at what happened to that organization before and since, it was luck.
Right, yeah, and like, you even think about their run with Brady, because 2002 obviously was Brady's first year when he filled in for Bledsoe who got hurt. They won that because of the tuck rule, which we all know shouldn't have been a fumble, obviously. Like, obviously it was reffed properly because the rule was what the rule was, but it was just a dumb rule. You know, so like, you could argue that was luck too, but I mean, you can't argue 6 rings. And New England was a dead organization, and he literally took them to the most like prestigious organization in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, he beat out the Steelers.
Compared to the Bill Russell Celtics and the UCLA team of the 60s.
Right, like,
those are the
historic.
only teams that have won that many championships in that short amount of time.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but let's take this back to the original Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady debate that we had in Aiden's basement. It was like episode 5 or episode 6 or something. My whole point was Tom Brady has all the intangibles, and yes, he's going to win you more games than Aaron, but Aaron is way more gifted than him. And I always make the comparison that Aaron is LeBron James of the NFL and Tom Brady is Michael Jordan of the NBA.
No.
Because
Tom Brady's Michael Jordan of the NFL.
yeah,
No, but no. Because how can you compare Aaron Rodgers to LeBron James?
I feel like they got.
How?
I feel like
Seriously,
Mahomes.
No. To take a page out of Stephen A. That is blasphemy.
Yeah.
That is straight blasphemy. Are you kidding me, dude? You realize LeBron James went to 10 straight NBA Finals. 10! And you are going to compare him to Aaron Rodgers, who still hasn't been to a Super Bowl since 2010.
You're taking it too literally. It's the two best talents to ever play basketball.
No.
And the two biggest winners to ever play.
Yeah, if you're talented, you win in the playoffs. No matter what.
Like, here's the thing. Like, you talk about this Aaron Rodgers talent thing. Like,
Montana's the second best quarterback in the
Yeah.
NFL.
yeah,
I'm
right.
asleep right
Dude,
now.
like, bro, you talk about this Aaron Rodgers talent stuff. Like, dude, Tom Brady can throw the ball just as far. You know what I mean? But
We're talking deep.
But he just can't do it off his back foot from like this weird slot angle, you know, like Rodgers can. Obviously that's crazy and stuff. But what good does that really do you? Seriously. Not much. If you can't make the throws you need to make, like the throws that happen more often than just bombing it deep, you know what I mean? Like quick outs, quick slants, timing routes, anticipation throws.
Yeah.
And I mean, Rodgers is still good at those things, but he can't do it as consistently as Tom Brady. That's the difference.
All I have to say is...
So all that talent is just thrown out the window, pretty much, at that point. If you can't do it in the playoffs.
His career is a tragedy. I gotta say, it's a tragedy.
He has a hand in it, though.
He does.
I don't know about a tragedy, dude.
I want him to play
wait.
on November 27th.
One more thing to why it's not a tragedy. Like, he still has won a bunch of MVPs and shit.
Yeah.
So like, he's still
Hall of Famer.
yeah, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, 100%.
No question.
No doubt. But here's the other thing. Quarterbacks have won one Super Bowl in the past 30 years. Steve Young, Brett Favre, both amazingly talented, both way more athletic than Brady was, 100%. Both only have one Super Bowl. Dan Marino is one of the best passers in NFL history, is 0. Aaron Rodgers is on par with those guys. Montana, Brady are above everyone else.
Yeah, because the NFL is a league that talent doesn't just win you championships. Like the NBA, talent wins you championships. Like the best player is going to win. But that's not how it is in the NFL. Like you're saying, Aiden, you listed all those quarterbacks who are incredible talents, way better athletes than Brady, who's like a scarecrow pretty much. And it's like Brady makes winning plays. And obviously he had a lot of winning players around him. But that's a credit to him too, you know, because he's the leader and he's the example in that organization. You know, like, think about this. A rookie gets drafted to the Patriots, or there are like free agent signings who come into the New England Patriots building and they see all of these dudes who are just insane workers, who are all just like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick robots, pretty much. Like, they just have to fit right into that. You know what I mean? It's either you fit the mold of a Tom Brady, Bill Belichick robot, or you're out. So that's a formula to winning championships. You know what I mean? Like, they just pumped in winning players because New England was just a winning player factory. Howie Roseman wanted a QB factory. New England was a winning player factory. Like, they took Chris Hogan, a lacrosse player at Penn State, and turned him into, like, he was a key piece for them in Super Bowl runs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the other thing, too, if we're going to call Brady a system quarterback, let's look at real system quarterbacks like Terry Bradshaw, Troy Aikman, and those two should not be in the Hall of Fame, but they are because their team won multiple Super Bowls.
Right.
Brady is heads above the water better than those guys, and those guys are still Hall of Famers.
Yep. 100%.
So safe to say we got a little bit sidetracked. We could talk about Cleveland and Patriots.
Oh, yeah. Zappy looked really good.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it? I mean, Cleveland is in such a mess right now.
Yeah. They looked promising. Like, they're like, oh, maybe they'll contend for a wild card spot, but that's...
But then they had that stinker.
Yeah.
Like, that was bad, dude.
And Jacoby Brissett's kind of like in mid-season form now.
Right, yeah.
The Patriots, they have a good coach, so I think they know what they're doing. Like, they know what plays to run.
Yeah.
Like, they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
they're solid defense.
Yeah.
Solid defense too. They're a solid team.
Yeah.
And they're better than people think.
Do you guys think Mac Jones? Do you think Brian Zappi is kind of like creating a conversation where he could maybe take the spot from Mac Jones?
I don't think so.
This is
But
kind of
I
like
think Zappy's creating a conversation for him to get a job somewhere else.
yeah, like Cooper Rush. Like
Yeah.
like I feel like this is the same thing. Like Dak went down, so did Mac Jones. Like these nobodies are making a name for themselves, and teams next year could draft less quarterbacks
Yeah.
and get skill players. So because these two guys are young, like Cooper Rush is a young guy.
Yeah. And
He's not bad. Like he's 4-1 as a starter. Like so far, he's winning games for the team. Like they played the two teams in the Super Bowl last year, the Bengals and the Rams, and he's been above average to say the least. And that team might bite on that and pay it. But this guy's young, so like maybe teams are going to be trying to trade for him in the offseason. We'll see.
Right.
But obviously, Mac Jones is their number one option. Like he proved it last year. You got to keep him in. Draft him in the first round. Like you use
Yeah.
use
and
a
I think-
first round pick on a quarterback. You got to play him and give him a chance.
And I think that, like, you want to build around Mac, rather than, Zappy looks good in a couple games and then you just, like, create a QB controversy that's so unnecessary. Like, I think Zappy has played well enough in those games where a desperate team's going to take a shot on him, maybe give up a 5th round pick to get him,
Yeah. NFL trades just make no sense to me.
I know, yeah. I just don't know what.
Yeah, like there's such good players. Like there's a lot of good. Like Tyreek Hill got traded for like
so
three-
many picks.
He got
He's
yeah,
like
he
a
got-
receiver.
and like you see like a guy like on the Eagles, Gardner Johnson. Like he didn't give up anything. For him.
I know for a
And he's like a pretty good safety. Like he's shown he's shown that he's shown
Yeah.
right now he's shown that he
He's a
deserves a
game
new
changer.
contract.
Yeah, a
like he
game
deserves it. He's young. He's got 3 interceptions so far. That's a good
Right,
start.
yeah.
And he like got
in the
hurt.
last 2 weeks.
He got hurt and he came back and played like and got a pick. So like
Yeah.
he's a tough guy. I think the Eagles definitely got to pay him for sure. Like you see those
They have
guys.
a lot of
like
guys to pay.
there's a lot of. I feel like the
They're gonna have to
NFL.
let go.
The NFL now has so much talent. Like there's a lot of pretty good people. Like I don't think anyone's like horrible. Besides, I feel
They
like
should pay Edwards.
I feel like there's like two teams that are.
They should focus on paying.
I feel like there's 2 teams that are like really bad, and I think that's Carolina. Obviously, like they're done. Like they're trying to trade McCaffrey now. Like they're done.
Oh,
They just
wait.
traded Robbie Anderson.
1 second.
yeah.
Eagles definitely should look into trading for Brian Burns from Carolina.
Oh my god,
He's
yeah.
an edge
He's
rusher.
he's a
And, like,
beast.
It
Yeah,
would just be such a key rotational piece. I know
He's a
Josh
beast.
Sweat is getting he's having a decent year,
but he just give me
it's
Eagles
such
snaps.
an upgrade.
Yeah.
Like there's such an upgrade available, and it's like we can still get you snaps, but obviously it's going to go down for you.
I don't really buy like the whole do you guys see the narrative that Cam Akers is going to get swapped with C-Mac? Because I've been
Yes.
seeing that all over the internet.
Oh my
and
god.
That is like the
That-
stupidest trade I could.
I mean, if the Rams got McCaffrey, they'd be much better.
Purgatory. But
yeah,
That'd be-
it makes no sense for Carolina, is what I'm saying.
Dude, Carolina. I feel like if Carolina did that, they would definitely get more.
Oh,
the Rams
yeah.
would definitely give up more, but
That
they
would
gave
definitely
up.
help them.
They gave up 3.
That would help them.
They gave up 3 first-round picks to the Lions for Stafford. Like they gave up all their picks already, so like I feel
Yeah,
like
what are they gonna
if they
do?
gotta give
Are
up.
just
They
gonna
gotta give
spend
up
money?
They just gotta give them players now. Like you just gotta give them players. Like if you're gonna throw in Cam Akers, like McCaffrey on the Rams, I feel like scary. That's scary because they have Cooper Kupp, who's probably top three player in the league. Honestly,
Yeah.
Like, he's the only one on the Rams that's keeping them up. Stafford's not doing any better, and their defense is not looking good. Like they lost. Like they're not good. Like they beat Carolina, but that's easy win.
Yeah.
That's easy for them. That should be easy.
Yeah, Carolina has slowly turned into one of the most dysfunctional franchises in the NFL.
Yeah, because
know.
they had Cam Newton.
Pretty quickly.
They had Cam
And
Newton.
Rivera.
Yeah, and Ron Rivera.
A pretty
was-
steep cliff
Like
since
they-
2015.
Yeah, like they've been pretty bad. Like Baker Mayfield has not proved anything.
Nope.
Like Darnold, obviously he's Darnold. He's not good at all. Bust.
And he was hurt.
Yeah, you get hurt. Like, and now you're on to your third stringer, PJ Walker.
I mean,
right?
who was the guy they drafted? They drafted
Matt Corral.
Matt Corral
Yeah.
from Ole Miss. I
So
mean,
they might need to
give
look to
him a
him.
shot.
You give him a
Yeah,
chance.
why
Yeah,
not?
like he was pretty good in
What do you have
college.
to lose at this point? See what you have in the kid, because a QB can change your franchise. Like you said, Aiden, they've slowly turned into the most dysfunctional franchise in the NFL. One of them, at least.
Slow, but then this year it just fell off a cliff.
Right. And it's like a QB can turn you around so fast. So
It can,
see what you
The
have.
issue is
They-
they've already traded for 2 quarterbacks to turn the franchise around. Because people forget Darnold's still hurt. So that's probably who you go to next.
Yeah.
And Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield are basically the same quarterback. I think Baker's a little bit more talented, but it doesn't feel like that the Panthers actually have an answer to any of these problems. The answer seems to be, hey, we're going to rely on Chris McCaffrey till he gets hurt or we trade him for picks. But that's not a recipe to turn around a winning season this time. And the unfortunate part for them is that the NFC South is still relatively wide open.
Yeah.
But if they could have actually not happened what did, they could have had a shot at the division this year. Not that it would have meant anything because it is a very weak division, but a playoff appearance is still a playoff appearance. But that's definitely not happening at this point.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. They're not good. And I feel like I don't know. I feel like the Lions are the other team, but they're definitely like. I feel like there's something up with them because they have something in that fourth rounder they got last year out of like USC, St. Brown.
Yeah, Monroe.
But like I feel like a quarterback change needs to come there. I feel like they gotta go young with a quarterback.
Yeah.
And the same thing, Carolina. Like you have that guy Corral, but like if you're gonna get the first pick in the draft with Bryce Young coming out, like the Tennessee quarterback coming out, probably is he? Like you have all these Bryce Young coming out.
Hendon Hooker.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he's gonna be coming out.
Well, you got Bryce Young coming out, and isn't there one more guy?
What if the Lions trade up for Bryce? I think that would set them like even to the division title.
Yeah.
No, that would be a really nice trade for them. And then you have the chemistry with him and Williams, Jameson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good trade for them.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, I could see the Lions.
I would like that.
Yeah, it would be. They're a fun team to watch as is.
I know Campbell is like that was a good Hard Knocks pick. Good job by the NFL to pick the Lions because that was just like
they kind of missed on the last few. So
I know, right? Because I feel like they overdo the Cowboys. Weren't the Cowboys on one of the last ones?
Yeah.
Last 2021.
Yeah.
That must have been fun to watch.
I mean, it was only fun because of Trayvon Diggs' kid. Those were the only fun parts. Mm-hmm. And then everything else was boring because they sucked.
Yeah. Well, Aiden and Jack remember this, but we were high on the Commanders. Like, it was like 2 weeks into the NFL, and then they fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
You guys,
They still
did it.
Well, they still.
I definitely overrated their defense. I thought their
Chase Young still has not come back yet. They need him.
that is true.
I feel he'll be back soon. I think, but like
And then
they desperately need him right now, and I feel like when you gotta.
The biggest issue with the Commanders, though, is not really been their defense. Like, yeah, it's been bad, but Wentz. And again, it's not that anyone here thought Wentz was going to be the best quarterback in the NFL or even in the top 15. But we all thought that he'd be decent enough with the numbers that he put up last year in Indy to at least make the Commanders a better football team and a more competitive football team. And he's been the biggest issue for them, which is something that rarely happens in his career. The only other time it happened was 2020. So for it to be happening like this is a really big concern for him.
Yeah, he might be on the bench next year, backing the team up. Maybe them, like they might not be able to trade him because he's so bad.
It's weird though because his numbers are like pretty, like they're above average in my opinion. Like to start the season off, it's just he takes himself out of games.
Yeah, and I mean his numbers weren't bad against the Titans. They weren't that bad. He just had the one pick at the end. But it's like we said, like he doesn't make enough winning plays.
They beat the Bears on Thursday night. So
but
12-7.
Yeah, bad. Yeah, literally, just like the end of the game was the Robinson guy from Alabama, the guy that got shot. That was crazy. I mean, what a comeback he had.
I know. Yeah,
Did you see his entrance?
Yeah, that was cool. That was really.
That was like up there with like the B-Dog entrance.
Yeah, but unfortunately for him, he didn't have a crowd. So
I know
they don't got a crowd there. They don't got good fans. So
imagine if he ran out in like the
Philly
Eagles crowd.
Yeah, they'd be going nuts.
Mm-hmm.
To many men. I would love that.
I think we'll transition to the MLB.
Yeah.
We don't know who's going to come out of who's going to represent the second team for the AL yet. Because
the game's about,
right?
it's about to
it's rained out, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really?
Or are they playing?
I think so.
They're playing?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they're playing. I'm looking up it's currently in a weather delay. 0-0 hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to be
and that's
playing.
Yankees, Guardians. It will be an interesting game to see, especially after the way Cole pitched last night to win them Game 4, because there have been a lot of question marks about how well he's pitched this season for them. So for him to have a huge game like that, win Game 3 in Cleveland, or Game 4 in Cleveland, to force Game 5 in New York is huge.
Right, yeah, and for Cleveland, it's like they had that series, and now they're definitely on their heels right now. They need their stars to come up like
Jose Ramirez needs to show up in this game. He needs to be the spark that Cleveland needs right now because only 2 runs in that game 4. They need their offense to show up because in the playoffs, like 4 runs given up by your pitching, it's like you could do better, but it's like it's not bad. You know, you need your offense to show up. You need to at least make it. You need to at least get 4. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
On the.
Go ahead.
There you go.
I was just going to say, I don't know if either of these teams, Yankees or Cleveland, are even a match for Houston, though.
Oh, no. Houston, we all know Houston's coming
definitely.
out.
Houston has been unbelievable. I mean, I get that they almost lost Game 1 to Seattle, not been against Seattle, if it hadn't been for the walk-on by Alvarez. I get that they only scored 1 run in 18 innings, which also isn't great. But up before that point, their offense has been on, and they also had to take a short 5-day rest in between the last game of the season and the end of the wild card. So now that they've played a few more games and they had a bit more time to rest after that, after sweeping Seattle, they're going to be a very dangerous team the rest of the way out.
Right.
Yeah, they're definitely the top. They're probably the favorite to win it right now.
And we should
sure.
talk about the National League, too, because, I mean, it looks like a juggernaut at the top of the National League with those 3 100-win teams, and they are all gone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. And now you have the Phillies and Padres who, like, they didn't look that good in the regular season, but they're just hitting their stride at, like, the perfect time, you know, and they're getting really hot right now.
This is the World Series, in my opinion. It's the 2 hottest teams right now.
Yeah, but can either of these teams beat the Astros? I think we can. I think we can do it.
Honestly,
Yeah, I think that.
You just gotta believe.
I think our pitching is good
Anything can
enough.
happen.
I think our pitching's good enough. Obviously, Nola is good enough to pitch against them.
oh yeah.
Our bullpen is a little bit of a question, but I think Wheeler and Ranger can get it done too. I think they can get it done. Even though Ranger had a bad game against them the last game of the year, or it was the game after Nola, so like they were hungover. So
They need to figure it out though, because like the Phillies haven't been able to find like, oh, who's gonna be the first guy to come out when the starter comes out? Who's gonna close the game? Who's gonna be in the middle?
I think Bilotti should be the first guy to come out after
Yeah.
the starter. Bilotti's stuff is good. It's just that he needs to, like his slider and his cutter, he needs to break it, because when it doesn't break, it gets hung right over the plate especially for righties. Like you saw, who was it that hit that home run off him? Orlando Arcia, like spanked it right into the corner.
Yeah, it was like the third pitch too.
Yeah. So, you know, you need to have a better feel for that and make it break. But when it breaks, his stuff is nasty.
Yeah.
So I like him right after the starter. And then Brogdon hasn't looked that good, you know, for the Phillies.
No, I haven't really seen him much in the
Well,
postseason.
he pitched in that game 1 and then let up 2 runs. It was Darno had a double off him. Darno's a good player, but Brogdon's stuff is like he throws hard, but it's spotting with him. You know, you need to spot your pitches a little bit better. And it's like his fastball's good, but his fastball's good when it's on the corner, not when it's right over the plate. Then it's beautiful for the hitter, you know.
Yeah, we all know how much you hate Rhys Hoskins, though. But personally, for me, I think Kyle Schwarber is the dead weight of the team right now. He can't.
Oh,
come
right
down
now, for
first.
sure, yeah.
It made no sense all year. He bats like what 212 in the
Well,
regular
Rob
season?
Thompson is. I think that they should leave it. It's working. So I don't think even fit with.
That's been the biggest thing that Thompson's talked about is finding a lineup that works. And the thing was, for most of the regular season, this is the lineup that worked.
Yeah.
And it's really just giving Schwarber time. And the other thing with Schwarber, yes, his batting average was around 200. His on-base percentage was over 300. So that means that he's still getting walks. Yes, he's going to strike out a lot, but he's going to also hit the occasional leadoff home run. So you sort of have to take that risk with the massive rewards that pay off.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy in the locker room to have. Like he was worth the money. Even though he's playing bad, he's still helping our guys out. Like our late guys in the lineup, like Stott, Marsh, and Segura. Segura is playing great. He's hitting the ball great.
And there's a lot of time for Schwarber to reinsert himself into this playoff run.
Yeah, there's time. Like we got a 7-game series coming up, and it's gonna be a good one. I think this is gonna be the best series of the playoffs.
We should talk about Harper real quick too, and his just dominance this playoff run.
Yeah, he got hurt. He came back. and he's hit his stride.
He has a 1,400 OPS in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's gonna be. I see it. I'm gonna see his number in Citizens Bank next to all the other guys.
Yeah, he's gonna be. His number will be retired. No one will ever be able to wear number 3 ever again after he retires.
JT, like we all shit on him in like the regular season, like he shrinks in big moments, but that hasn't been the case. Recently. Like,
and honestly, a lot of these guys, like even Bowman, Hoskins, like Hoskins had that huge home run off Strider that
changed the game. That changed the game, man.
Sealed it. Like,
and then Harper.
I mean, props to the Phillies fans too. The bank was rocking.
Yeah, like I feel like we got the best,
especially the
best home field advantage in MLB for sure.
I need to get my money up so I could see that in person.
I would love to.
I heard that was like one of the most loud the Citizens Bank ever got when he reset that home run.
Oh yeah.
And when Real Muto, he went inside the park.
That was
insane.
That was so exhilarating, like just by a baseball play standard.
And taking one in Atlanta was so important because you knew you were coming to a crowd that is rowdy. They're crazy. Like they ride or die. And we haven't been there in 11 years, so you know they're going to show out. Yeah, you know it's going to be packed.
Find a catcher that fast.
Yeah,
seriously.
and like he's the first catcher ever to hit a postseason inside the park home run.
How about the Phillies fans mocking the chop too? That's pretty funny.
Yeah, and they they well earned. They own us in the regular season. Regular season don't matter.
Yeah,
we finished third place.
They're watching us.
We finished third place, but we're the best team in the division because we made it the farthest this year.
For me, though, it's really hard to hate the Braves. Like, that team is an all-star team.
They're good.
Seriously.
They're good. They're good. They're good. The Mets, they just like to do their normal thing. In wild card round, they get, they were up 10.5 on the Braves.
And they get bounced.
Yeah, and they lost the division in the last week of the year, obviously. Yeah. And they had a tough opponent because the Padres have some good players. Yeah. Like, we should be nervous about them, too.
Haters dirty.
Yeah, you got him. Yeah, you got him. But, this year when we played the Brewers, when he was on their team, we hit him. We hit 2 home runs in a row off him. Yep. So I feel like this is the perfect spot for us to take advantage of that because we have guys that can hit and we have experience.
Completely agree.
And you're seeing, even like Castellanos, he up and down year, very underperforming, honestly, for the money that we paid him. But you're seeing him, he's having a better play. Yeah, he's having he's hitting the ball. He's not trying to whack home runs. He's hitting the ball and getting on base. It doesn't matter. Just get on base because base runners are important.
Yeah. If you guys remember in 2016, the Cubs signed Jason Hayward to a massive contract up in the World Series. He did basically absolutely nothing in the regular season, little in the postseason. His clutch moment came in the locker room in Game 7 during the rain delay when he kept everyone loose, kept everyone excited. The Cubs came out, won the series. My point is, in a roundabout way, is that guys can step up in the postseason in really big ways, really small ways. It doesn't matter what you do in the rest of the season. They're paid to do good things in the postseason, great things, and help teams win.
Yeah, like
late in the season. It doesn't matter what you do in the rest of the season if your team makes the playoffs.
Yeah, they're really doing everything they can. Like Schwarber, you're seeing like an example of that. Like Hayward, you're paying Schwarber a lot of money. He's not really doing anything right now, but you're seeing guys like you're seeing all these guys get interviewed and saying he's a leader, saying he's a leader. Like
Brandon Marsh.
Yes, Marsh.
And you're seeing all these younger guys step up because you got leadership in our locker room.
Yeah. I think the cap off baseball will go around and do predictions. Who you guys think is going to win? Take it all. Or how about we do this? World Series matchup, and then who wins and how many games?
Okay, all right. You want to start?
Yeah, all right. I'm saying, I might be biased, but the Phillies and the Astros, I think that's what it's going to be. But I also have a feeling it could be Phillies-Yankees. If the Yankees win tonight, I think it will be Phillies-Yankees because I want a revenge. But I think the Phillies are going to win it. I really think we're going to win it because as a Philadelphia fan, you got to believe, and you never know. I think us not making it 11 years is just motivating the team even more to try to get a championship. Right. And you got Harper, like you got that star. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like we had Howard, like he was that star for us, and you had like other guys, but you have Harper and you have like the perfect guys around him. Mm-hmm. And Harper's like that superstar that you got that can come up clutch whenever.
You're picking Phillies against
Phillies, Astros, and I think we're going to win in 6 or 7. I'm going to say Phillies in 6 games.
Okay, Aiden, you want to go?
And we're closing it out at home.
I will go. So I love your guys' enthusiasm about the Phillies. I do. I love what the Phillies have done this postseason as well. But the Padres has been unhittable. And I know everyone said the same thing about the Braves, but the Padres are doing this in the postseason against the 2 best offenses in baseball, against the Mets and the Dodgers. I think that this series goes to 7. I think the Phillies put up a really, really good fight. But if 7 games San Diego has home field advantage. I'm going the Padres. American League, nobody's beating the Astros. And the Yankees have struggled historically against the Astros in recent years. There's no way that they're beating the Astros. It's going to be Padres-Astros in the World Series.
And who comes on top?
I'm going Astros. I just don't think anyone can beat them.
Astros and what?
I'm going to go 6. I think the Padres get a couple good ones out of there. Again, their pitching has just been so dominant, but I just don't see the Astros going to a Game 7. I think that they're taking it in 6.
Okay. Yeah, I see what Aiden's saying. You know, Padres are looking really good right now. They're pitching, especially, you know, Hader out of the pen, like you said, Jack, like you said, Aiden. Their starters, too, like you Darvish, who's the Game 1 starter for tomorrow night, and Joe Musgrove, who shut out the Mets in the clincher and the wild card in a pretty raucous environment. But it's coming to a halt, in my opinion. It's coming to a screeching halt. I think the Phillies are going to take 1 in San Diego, and then they're going to come home for 3. It's 3 in a row, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And the Padres don't stand a chance in the Red Sea. I think the Phillies are going to take this in 5 games. They're going to advance to the World Series. And then on the AL side, I do believe the Yankees are going to beat the Guardians. But like I said earlier, I don't think they stand a chance against the Astros, just like Aiden was saying too. They're extremely dominant, and what Aiden was saying about the rest is such a good point because, again, their talent is going to carry them, and when that talent is at 100% rest, no injuries to worry about, their bullpen is fully loaded. That's not a team you want to play. I do think the Yankees will put up a fight, though, because the Yankees are still a good team. I don't think the Yankees are a rollover. I don't think they have a chance to win, but I think that they could put up a fight.
Here's my biggest concern about the Yankees, and it's been my main concern about them the last 3 years, is that Aaron Boone is their manager. Because him not pitching Clay Holmes in Game 3 nearly lost them this entire series. Had they not completely dominated in Game 4 last night, and really it wasn't even them that dominated. It was really Garrett Cole won them that game easily. So you have to rely on guys to outplay your manager, and that's not something you want to do, especially when the manager you're going to be facing is Dusty Baker, who, yes, he's never won a World Series, but he is one of the best managers in baseball history. When it comes to wins, when it comes to experience, there's no one even close to him that's currently coaching outside of Tony La Russa, and he's gone now, and there's no reason he should come back. But when you look at it like that, there's just no way that the Yankees can win coaching-wise, talent-wise. I just don't see it.
Everything you said is true, but I think that the Yankees are extremely motivated right now because of what, obviously, everything that transpired in the past.
And I also quickly, sorry, Jack, not to cut you off. I want to add in, I feel like the Guardians could actually win this game tonight.
No, they could.
I feel pretty confident about that.
They definitely could. 100%.
So I don't even, if it becomes Guardians Astros, it becomes much more clear in my opinion that you have the Astros, but it's sort of similar to the Phillies, where the higher team could possibly win, and the Guardians have looked very, very good. Yes, it's going to Game 5, but against the Yankees team that was supposed to completely dominate them. So it as of right now, I'm saying Astros over Yankees. If the Guardians win, it becomes a lot more interesting.
It becomes more interesting for sure. Because, like, you never expected the Nationals to win that World Series against them. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, but the Astros is, like, the very safe pick. I
still, even if the Guardians win, I'm still
taking Astros.
I think that goes Game 5.
Yeah.
But either way, I just don't see a team beating the Astros.
So do you have out of the NL?
I have the Phillies out of the NL, and then I have the Astros out of the AL, and then the World Series.
And then...
As much as I want to pick my Philadelphia Phillies, my Philly Phils, the Astros are just they'd be too much for us. Especially in a 7-game series. We might be able to take 1, 2, maybe. I would say Astros in 5, probably.
Heard that. Okay. AL, doesn't matter. Astros are going to go to the World Series. I don't care who wins tonight. I think they'll sweep either team, personally.
Okay.
NL, I got Phillies beating the Padres in 6. And I got to disagree with you here. Like, Bryce Harper is Philly, Reese Hoskins. No matter how you feel about him or how he's been playing, he's literally Philadelphia. JT is rising to the occasion. Everyone wants to play under Rob Thompson. I really think it's just going to be too much momentum-wise for the Astros to handle. So I got the Phillies winning in a 7 at Houston.
That would be crazy.
Yep, it's going to happen. I think
they're going to regret letting us win the last game or whatever game to clinch in the playoffs. They're going to regret it.
That would be so funny.
Yeah,
I mean, anything can happen in the baseball playoffs, so that's for sure a possibility.
I think if the Braves and Nationals did it, I believe we can do it.
The way we clinched was to beat the Astros. The way to win the World Series would to beat the Astros in Houston.
In the words of
Very
Kendrick
poetic.
Lamar, that would be poetic justice.
Mm-hmm. And we don't. This is the last thing I want to say before I transition to the NBA. Bryce Harper is so good.
Yeah, he's an amazing player.
I can't put into words. Like, he had a slump at the end of the regular season. He was batting like 250. Like, that's bad for him.
Yeah.
He is. I can't name 2 players better than him.
Yeah.
Shohei, who else? Okay, Harper 3.
Could be.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, Goldschmidt had a better year, but only because Harper missed it. You're right. So, like.
You know, if you look at, like, taking out this year just career-wise, I would go Judge, Ohtani, maybe Trout, just because Trout was able to still hit 40 home runs, was playing a lot less games than everyone else.
Right.
And then Harper's a close third. I would put him at 4th. Mm-hmm. But either way, he is easily one of the best players in baseball right now.
Right. 100%.
So this is getting recorded on October 17th, which means the NBA season starts tomorrow. And it really crept up on me. I thought we had another week or 2 before the season started, but it's here.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 important games tomorrow: Sixers, Celtics, and Warriors and Lakers. I think.
Yep.
And
Is the Warriors and Lakers that important though?
No, I mean, not really to me.
For the Warriors, it is.
Yeah, for the Warriors, it is. But I think as a Sixers fan, we have high expectations going into the season.
Yeah.
We got re-signed Harden. We made a big trade, trading Simmons away, but we got Harden now. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we didn't really have much last year, but now we had an off season, and now we have Harden, and we got some guys around him like PJ Tucker, was it Daniel House, Harold, D'Anthony Melton trading for him that was a pretty good trade, and to see guys like Thibault needs to have a big year for us.
Yeah,
like if he wants any kind of money, like he's got to do good because. Man does not show anything on offense.
Yeah, he has to be able to shoot.
Yeah, so
that's his key.
Because
we know he can bring defense.
I don't know.
And we said this about Ben too, and like
right, but Bible has shown though he will shoot it.
Yeah,
it's just about making them now.
His shot is broken as hell though. It is broken.
It's it's fixable, but I don't think it's broken as hell. I think it's just a little off, to be honest. A little.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the Sixers, this is the best chance they have to go for a title run since they traded for Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris. Just the fact that you now have Harden get to be with his team for a couple months in the regular season, a decent playoff run, which ended disappointingly, but at least you got that experience with the rest of the team. I feel very confident about this team. We've talked about this before, that the East is relatively power-heavy at the top, and the Sixers are one of those teams. Obviously, it depends on the health of one main guy, Joel Embiid. If he gets hurt at all this season, they're pretty much done. But I am feeling confident about them. But this will be a good first game against the Celtics team that is also very good. And it will be interesting to see how they do the first game of the season.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is going to be a well-oiled machine for Philadelphia this year, and Boston is going to be a good team too.
It's going to be a test. It's going to be a good test for us.
Boston is obviously coming off a run to the finals.
Yeah, and they got even better. They just picked up Malcolm Brogdon.
Right.
I feel like they just only got better because their coach going out, whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're really well run. They're really well run. Mm-hmm. Really good players. Tatum obviously is a star. Brown's a star. You got guys like Horford. Rob Williams is hurt right now, but he's really underrated. Yep. Marcus Smart's also really underrated. The man won Defensive Player of the Year.
Right.
And he can do what he brings. I feel like he's the leader. He's the heart and soul of that team, Boston. for sure.
You can't ignore the Bucks, though. They're in my
Yeah, and then
pick for
you got the
finals.
I think the Sixers are going to
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be – the East is very power heavy. I feel like Miami definitely has a chance. If you have Butler, you have a chance. Man's a playoff performer. He's an insane. He's awesome.
Giannis,
Giannis. I feel like the Bucks. I feel like the Bucks is probably the favorite so far. I feel like Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn's going to be – they're going to be a middle
I don't
team.
think they're going to be good.
They'll be a middle team this year for sure, like 4, 5, 6 seed. But I feel like it's going to be Sixers, Bucks, and Celtics coming in the top 3.
Yeah.
But it's a good test for the Sixers because Celtics are good. We're good. They have some new guys, so do we. Like, we'll see how it all works. But I feel like the key for the Sixers is Embiid. And
I think
feel
the
like
key is Maxey.
Yeah, Maxey. Yeah, he's definitely – I think he's bound for a breakout. I feel like if Embiid gets hurt, we're probably done. But you got Harden. Like, I feel like Harden's on a vengeance. And you got Maxey, who's only getting better.
Yeah.
Like, he's only getting better.
Harden vengeance just sounds really funny to me.
I feel like Harden's on a vengeance because you're seeing, like, wasn't really good the last 2 years because of a hamstring injury, but now he's a full offseason with the team with, like, Joel Embiid. You got leaders around there. Like, Tobias Harris also needs to have a good year. He needs to shoot well from 3 because he's going to be wide open.
Yeah.
He's got the 4th best defender guarding him because they're going to have to – teams are going to have to adjust because if you're seeing Maxey's going to get hot, they're going to put their best defender on him. But then you leave Harden with their second best guy, and Harden was the first option for years and years and years.
Right.
So we'll see. I don't know. I think it's gonna be a good season for the Sixers.
You did touch on it, though. You said Jimmy Butler is the epitome of a playoff performer. I think regular season or postseason, Jimmy Butler is a top 7 player in the league just because of what he can turn into.
Yeah, he's around there. Yeah, top 10 for sure. I'd say definitely top 10 player.
He literally can take anybody anywhere, and he could have brought us to a championship, but Kawhi traveled.
I don't think he's a top 10 player, but I do understand what you're saying. Like, I do think he has top 10 impact, but I don't think that he's a top 10 player necessarily. Because, I mean, what he's done with Miami is really impressive. Mm-hmm. Because that team isn't just loaded with talent. They're a bunch of gritty guys, and Butler's leadership carries them very far. But I think that they need another star to truly contend for the East. Even though they were 1 win away last year and they were in the finals in 2020, it's like getting over that hump is what you need to do. So I think another star is going to help them. I don't think Oladipo is the answer.
No,
I think he can resurge.
Yeah, Hero.
Everyone's kind of
they're still good because you got Hero. Bam Adebayo is really good.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You got Hero, and you have guys that they came out of nowhere, like Strus. Like, he was pretty good for them last year.
Gabe Vincent.
Yeah, they can both shoot the ball, so they have shooters. But I think they need another guy. Like, I feel like Bradley Beal. I feel like they should have tried to make a run at Bradley Beal, Donovan Mitchell for sure. I think they should have tried to get 100%. Because I feel like Donovan Mitchell and Butler would be perfect. Because he's a star, like, no doubt. Like, Cleveland, they're gonna be better.
They need a 4 or a 5 though, because if they get Brad, they're just gonna be small.
Yeah, and they're gonna have to give up a lot. Like Hero, Hero's someone that you don't want to give up.
But hot prediction, I got the Western Conference Finals matchup being Dallas Mavericks and Los Angeles Clippers.
Okay, that's interesting.
I like the Mavericks pick.
I'm saying Golden State and Clippers. Because I feel like Golden State, they're going to be doing their normal thing.
Yeah, I think Golden State's going to be back, and I agree with Mavericks.
Yeah,
Mavericks.
I think Mavericks will be up there because Luka's going to.
Mavericks to the finals would be cool.
I hope. It would be like.
I think the East is going to be Bucks, Sixers go, and then I think Sixers beat the Warriors in the finals. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Brennan?
I don't know. I think the Bucks are going to come out of the East this year. Mm-hmm. I'm saying the Bucks. I feel like another surprise team. I feel like Cleveland's going to be a lot better. I really do because
they're going to be good.
They're going to be a lot better. I think Garland's going to take a leap. Mitchell obviously will do what he does. But I don't know. I think it's going to be Sixers, Bucks, or it could be Bucks, Heat. It could really go anywhere. It could go any direction in the East, I feel like.
Right.
But I'm going to say Bucks, Warriors finals. Mm-hmm. I feel like Bucks, Warriors finals. Yeah. And Warriors winning in 6. Because I think the Warriors are going to repeat.
Okay.
Because he's insane. Yeah, I feel like he'll get his 5th championship and put himself in conversation for being the GOAT. Because we got to start talking about that because
If he wins 5, you have
Yeah,
to talk about
you
it.
definitely got to talk about it because he's the best player of our generation. I feel like.
Take in mind, LeBron is going to...
Yeah, but you got LeBron, but I feel like
Not even that, though.
You
He's
look at
going to be number 1 in points in, like, January.
But you see the last 5 years. I feel like, I mean, the Warriors have won how many championships? Like 4, right?
Yeah.
That's 7 years. I don't know. I'm not saying the last 5 years, but like the last 7 years, they've won 4 of those championships. And you got Durant. Durant obviously helped them out, but that's his team. I feel like.
Bus driver and bus driver.
Yeah. But
The thing with Durant is it made sure they would win those championships, but they sort of made it to the finals.
Yeah, no matter what. Yeah, no matter what.
Easily.
Yeah, but I think Warriors are gonna repeat because they're a playoff team. They got good players.
Yeah, agreed.
What do you guys think about the Nets, though? I feel like that's...
We'll see.
I don't
It can go up and down.
I think that they're going to have a really disappointing season again, like they did last year, because I think Ben Simmons is.
He's gonna weigh him down. He's gonna weigh them down because like they
I
need.
truly believe that he won't be able to go back to what he was, and like he's just on a block at this point in his career. I think he's going to be a huge issue with Brooklyn. I think that his flaws will be put on full display this season.
Yeah, and you see like teams with Kyrie and KD, like the teams they won championships with, they had shooting.
Right.
Ben Simmons he's a starter and he's going to get a lot of time obviously, and he can't shoot.
He's
Like,
the primary
what if he's
too.
What if he's like a wide open corner 3? Like they're gonna put at the end of the year he's gonna be like what he was for. Like, he's gonna be just setting screens.
Like here's the thing:
That's all he's gonna be doing. He's not
your primary ball handler. You want to be able to be a scoring threat.
Yeah, why would you take Kyrie off ball, too?
Yeah,
you got Kyrie. Kyrie should be
Durant.
Yeah.
Kyrie should be running the offense 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
But now they choose Ben Simmons. Like they haven't learned anything.
Yeah, like they should watch the playoffs from 2020, right?
Yeah.
And you saw what happened.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's going to work for Brooklyn at all, to be honest with you.
No, me neither.
Aiden, you have any thoughts on that?
It's going to be a toss-up for them. I have more faith in the Nets than a lot of people do.
Why is
Just
that?
solely because of the fact that you still got Durant, you still got Kyrie, and now you've got a better defender in Ben. Like, there's definitely, we've talked about this before, there's a lot that could go wrong with this team.
Yeah.
A lot that could go wrong with this team. Just because you got so many personalities that are all over the place. Kyrie is a very out there person, to put it nicely.
Yeah.
But then you now add in Ben Simmons, who is questionable how much he's dedicated to working on his game as well. So it could either be that they all end up working really well together, that all the personalities mesh, because you've seen it happen, especially with the Bulls, which was heavily talked about in the documentary, where you had Pippen, Rodman, and Jordan, who were very different people, all work together to win a championship, or it could completely fall apart like it has consistently for the Nets. So I feel like the Nets are still going to finish like third. I still think that they're going to make a lot of noise in the playoffs, but it's going to take a lot for them to actually work together to be a championship caliber team.
No, I can definitely like understand your points there. You know, because you're right. If they do click it together, that's a pretty scary lineup because that's a lot of Hall of Fame talent there.
My Western Conference Brooklyn Nets, I was high on them earlier, like in the summer, but now I'm starting to come back down to earth. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to just implode.
I have a feeling
as early as the regular season.
I have a feeling, but I think they're going to be good. I think they will be. You don't think they're going to be good, Minnesota?
I think they're going to, like, I thought they were going to finish top 4 seed in the West.
You think Gobert is like something that they shouldn't have got?
Oh, no, because they're paying him and Cat like $250 million combined.
Yeah,
and they're not going to be able to pay Anthony Edwards unless they get rid of one of them. And like, you're not going to.
Well, D'Lo's a free agent after this year too.
Yeah, but like.
You don't want to get. I mean, you got to pay Edwards.
Yeah, you have to pay Edwards.
Edwards is the better player because he's a freak.
If you have to keep 3 and get rid of 1, you're getting rid of Gobert, right?
Yeah, right.
And you're not going to be able to. Like, D'Angelo Russell's going to have to walk, and then you're going to have 2 big guys, and then.
Yeah, I don't see that working at all either. We talked about that.
Once again, D'Angelo Russell's going to bite the dust from bad organization.
Right, yeah.
He's really important end of a lot of bad organizations, and he gets trained those organizations to become good. I mean, he was on the Lakers when they were bad. He gets traded. They win a championship. He goes to the Nets, who's basically the sole provider for the Nets of making that one playoff run where they got bounced pretty early by the Sixers. He gets traded. Then the Nets become like one of the superpowers of the NBA. And now ends up in Minnesota, which, not that Minnesota's bad, but they're definitely one of the – it almost feels like that Minnesota's the Siberia of the NBA. You get traded there. You know you're not going to win. You might make an occasional playoff run. But even no matter what they seem to do, they never seem to be able to get that consistency that other NBA teams can get.
Right. I completely agree.
And I just want to put this out. That Brooklyn team with D'Angelo is better than whatever they had the last 4 years, including now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think so too.
And if they kept that, who knows? Like,
yeah, we'll see. Yeah, because they all could have gotten better and worked better as a team under the same coaching. But
and got a guy like
they got Durant. I mean, they got Durant, who's aging. I mean, it wasn't the wrong choice getting him and Kyrie because they're both awesome.
Yeah, it's not a great.
It's just yeah. Steve Nash should not be their coach. I don't think they should get a veteran coach like
Kenny Atkinson was fine.
Yeah, like they should have just kept him. I feel like should have just kept him.
Well, he didn't mix well with Kyrie. That's why he ended
I feel like Monty Williams. Like that's not going to happen because he's a Suns coach, but he'd be the perfect guy for Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Like someone like that.
They need someone who can handle toxic personalities.
Yeah.
I mean,
because they both want the ball. They both want to perform.
Not that guy.
Yeah, no, he's definitely
This is not.
So you guys know that I'm not big on college football at all, but I know that one of the biggest games of the year just happened. And
Tennessee and
Alabama just lost, and who would have saw that coming?
Yeah.
Like Tennessee was hot, but like
and that was the props to the Tennessee crowd. They were
crazy.
They were insane.
Yeah.
And they absolutely rioted on the field.
That's a good football town.
Yeah, a very good football town.
Yeah.
They're crazy.
It's
different in the SEC.
Alabama,
It's different.
there was a lot of warning signs for this team.
Yeah.
And not that I necessarily thought they would lose to Tennessee, but I did feel like that they weren't going to win. They definitely weren't going to win the SEC. That was still definitely going to Georgia. And it felt like they could lose one of these games before making it to the SEC championship. And Tennessee was the one team when I saw that on the calendar, like, this is a possibility. I wasn't 100% sure, but Alabama, first of all, this is the biggest reason they lost. 17 penalties. That breaks an Alabama record for most conceded penalties by a team. That is insane, especially that happened under Nick Saban.
Right.
The highest rating was 14 in the game.
100%.
That just doesn't happen to a program like Alabama.
Yeah, it's like that's so rare to see an undisciplined Nick Saban team like that. I mean,
it was that the safeties couldn't cover anyone.
Yeah.
Every time they needed to use stuff, they didn't get it. Like, this just doesn't feel like a regular Alabama team. The crazy part is, if Tennessee loses 2 games, which Tennessee has had problems closing out against teams that they should beat, granted they're much better than they have been in the past 15 or so years.
Mm-hmm.
But if they lose a couple games, Alabama still only loses that one. Alabama still wins the SEC West. Will still make it to the SEC championship game.
Yep.
So you've got to be, if you're Tennessee, you got to close out the rest of the season. If you're Georgia, you have to close out the rest of the season too. Because the issue is with Georgia is if they end up with 1 loss, then lose to, let's say, Tennessee in the SEC championship game, and Bama only has that 1 loss, Bama could sneak in without winning their conference into the playoff.
Yeah, and that would definitely be a Bama way.
Yeah, it's rare, but that's what happened to Ohio State when the 2-loss Penn State team won the Big Ten championship game.
Right.
The 2-loss team has never made the playoff, so they could still easily put in Bama if that scenario happens.
Yep.
So those 2 teams, Georgia and Tennessee, got to close out the rest of the season.
Yeah.
We need to take a moment and just admire Jalen Hyatt's stat line.
Yeah.
Averaging 34 and a half yards. A reception.
That's nuts, yeah.
Yards
He's definitely boosted himself into a first-round pick so far. Yeah. He's just got to stay healthy, and, I mean, if he keeps going,
right.
He's definitely a first-round draft pick.
And Hendon Hooker looked really good for Tennessee, too.
Mm-hmm. And is a college introducing, the extended playoff bracket this year?
I think that's next.
2025.
Yeah, it's coming soon. Yeah, so there's going to be 8 teams, right? 8? Isn't there 8
12,
12? Okay.
Well,
So,
it's the six conference winners and 6 basically wild card teams.
interesting. So
are they going to play better? I might watch at this point.
Are they going to go? Are they going to go by record, or are they going to do it like the selection show again, where the experts I'll pick them. I don't know how that works, but
So, yeah, I think they're still keeping the committee, but they're looking at the 6 teams that win their conference with the best record. The interesting part about this is it means a non-Power 5 conference will get an automatic bid. So I feel like now with the teams that the AAC are losing, this is a great thing for the Sun Belt. It's great for the Mountain West. And the other 3 are really going to have to fight it out at this point.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, where do you guys think Tennessee stands? Because they're third ranked now. I don't know where Alabama is.
Right. I mean, if you're in the top 4, you're a championship contender. And if, like Aiden was saying, if Tennessee can hold out this year and continue, and you're going to have to beat Georgia to win the SEC championship. And it's like what Aiden said was right. Like if Georgia loses a game and then loses the SEC championship to Tennessee, Bama could sneak in as the 1 loss. But let's say Tennessee continues their undefeated season all the way to the SEC championship and loses to Georgia. And let's say it gets mollywopped, doesn't look like they can even compete.
Yeah, so
could Bama sneak in through that Tennessee spot?
No, I got wrong. Tennessee's in the SEC East. So right now the top team in the SEC West is Ole Miss, who's also undefeated. Ooh. So there is a chance Bama still gets in, not if they lose. The issue is now they can't lose out. They have to win the SEC,
right.
Which I don't see them beating Georgia. So this makes the whole thing a lot more interesting because I thought Tennessee could get in as a 1-loss losing the SEC championship. That can't happen at this point.
Yeah.
Which means that Georgia's also on their schedule, which I did know. So they're going to have to – one of those teams is going to have to beat each other, and they won't face each other again after that.
Yeah.
So whoever wins that game is making probably – I would say he has a 99% chance of making it to the college football playoffs.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that.
So it's going to be interesting. The other interesting thing is the other 2 top teams are Michigan and Ohio State. They both also play each other. So whoever loses that game also is going to be automatically out. Most likely, whoever wins is going to be pretty much automatically in.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to watch a couple of these other weaker teams. Clemson does not look that good, even though they're pretty high in the rankings.
Yeah.
Who else is pretty high? Alabama's the 1-loss. Ole Miss. TCU is interesting because they're undefeated, and they haven't looked great. They had a comeback win. I forget who they played. But if they win the Big 12 as an undefeated team, that makes it a lot harder for the committee to pick between, let's say, a 1-loss Alabama versus a no-loss TCU that's played in a weaker conference. There's going to be a lot of interesting things that are happening. A lot of people are going to be happy, and a lot of people are not going to be happy.
Yeah. Yo, going back to Tennessee, too, I was just looking at their schedule real quick. They have a really, really tough stretch here. Just 2 games. So, in 2 weeks, they play Kentucky at home, who has looked like they can pull off an upset against one of the top SEC teams, like Will Levis at quarterback. So that's a dangerous game for them. And then the next week, November 5th, they have to go to Athens to play number 1 Georgia. And that's going to decide pretty much who's going to go to the SEC championship from the SEC East. And that's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, that will be a game that every sports fan should have on their calendar.
Yeah, I agree.
Just seeing the way Tennessee played Bama, and Georgia's a much better team. Tennessee's going to have to play much. And granted, I'll give a lot of credit to Tennessee. They played their hearts out. They played a great game. But the mistakes they made against Alabama, you can't make against Georgia.
Yeah.
And that's what I think people don't realize is how much better Georgia has been than Alabama in the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
They are at a different level. It's Georgia and everyone else.
Yep.
So Tennessee's going to have to make sure they can't make the same mistakes against Bama, and they're going to have to come out firing. And that game is at Georgia, too. So you now have that coming against you. So it's going to be a really tough game for Tennessee to win.
All right. You guys got anything else?
No.
That's it. Unfortunately, I'll add one more thing. James Madison, Coastal Carolina both lost. So that is unfortunate news for any Sunbelt fans. That's all I got to add.
Well, Brennan, thanks for having us.
So, yeah, thank you. It's good.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Long time in the making. Yeah, we'll have you back for sure. And thanks for tuning in. We drop episodes every Saturday at 3 p.m., so be on the lookout. We'll see you next time.